The euro did something last week that we have not seen since 2024, so I'm going to have all the details in today's video, including exactly how I'm looking to trade this market, where I'm looking to get in, how I'm going to get in, and also some potential targets for the euro. We'll also take a look at the DXY because I think that market is really telling right now. So if you're new here, my name is Justin Bennett, forex trader since 2007, full-time trader since 2011. As always, all of this is my opinion only and not financial advice. So looking at the euro daily time frame, what we talked about over the weekend was the fact that we had this first bearish change of character on the daily closing below this low back here since 2024. Now, the reason this matters is because you can see up here, this was our BOS. Okay, so we had the high back here. We had the close above it that gave us this BOS over here, making this our external low. Last week, we closed below. Okay, so this was the first bearish change of character on the daily time frame since all the way back here in 2024. So during this downtrend, okay, obviously we had a change of character through here, closing below. And even if that wasn't there, you can see, closing below this here, we had the change of character. So bottom line, this was a downtrend back here. Since early 2025, though, we have seen a series of higher highs and higher lows. Now, what you'll notice is that during this entire time, we never got the euro closing below one of these external lows, okay, until last week. So this is a significant development, in my opinion, for the euro. Furthermore, too, like we've talked about over the past few weeks, this comes at a time where on the weekly time frame, what you'll notice here is that we have this ascending channel. Okay, you can see the market has struggled up here for the last few months, really the better part of a year. And furthermore, too, following this BOS back here on the weekly, what you'll notice is that the external high here was this one up here. If we take from this high down here to the low, notice where all of this is occurring. Okay, so right now we are getting this shift on the daily right here in OTE, or optimal trade entry, which is the area between the 62% and 79% retracement. This is where markets tend to reverse. So markets are fractal, guys. This right here on the weekly and daily looks exactly like what you might see on a 5-minute time frame or 15-minute time frame. And that is the point that markets, patterns tend to repeat over and over again on various time frames. So if I showed you this weekly time frame, you wouldn't know if this is a weekly or a 15-minute chart, just because, again, patterns tend to repeat on all of these time frames. Now, let's take a look here at the euro, what it's doing so far this week, because over the weekend, all we had to go off of was this close last week. Okay, so far this week, we are getting some developments here from the euro. If we look internally, you can see that on the 15-minute time frame, what we've had here, okay, is this low down here. We had a BOS below. All right, so let's map this out. I'm going to call this an IBOS, an internal BOS. We then have this high up here. Because that's an internal BOS, this is an internal change of character. So what we've had right now is an internal shift here following the low last week, okay? And again, this is to be expected because, like we talked about on the DXY, that market had reached resistance, okay? The US dollar was hitting some resistance, and the euro was also getting pretty overextended last week. Okay, so a shift like this, guys, is to be expected down here in this area, but here's what's key. Okay, and I want to explain something really quickly about internal versus external, is that you'll notice if we go out here to a weekly time frame like we looked at before, this is external, okay? Notice our BOS is back here. All of this here on the daily is internal. Now, if we go to a daily time frame, this right here is external. This BOS, this one back here, this change of character, all of this here that you see on the hourly time frame or 4-hour time frame, all of this is internal to this daily time frame. Now, if we go down to take this one step further, go down to, let's say, an hourly time frame, and you can see that that internal BOS, an internal change of character, is internal to stuff like this, right? This BOS, external high up here. Okay, everything in between here is internal. So hopefully you get the idea here that internal versus external is all relative. It all depends on the time frames that you're viewing, and that's what gets a lot of traders tripped up, okay? So let's take a look now at what we could get from the euro and what I'm looking for from this market. And by the way, if you do want to see exactly how I trade SMC full time, then check out the link right here on the screen. That's going to give you free access, completely free access to an SMC strategy that I use to trade full time. It's the exact same one that I'm going to show you in this video. So it goes through step by step. It's a 3-part series that shows you exactly how I trade full time. So check that out. If you don't see it here on the screen, check out the description below or that pinned comment. All right, so looking here again at the euro, we have that internal shift happening right now. So the question is, what could we get here from the euro? And by the way, guys, I'm not going to be buying this market simply because last week we did get that change of character on the daily, and this has been a downtrend. Furthermore, too, if you look at the 4-hour time frame, clearly a downtrend here recently from the euro. So any buys against this internal shift that I just showed you is going to be severely against the trend. And furthermore too, guys, I had 3 trades last week, 3 winners. One was a 5R, one was a 3R, one was a 1R. And so I made a lot of money last week. I'm in no hurry to get back into these markets, which by the way, I do share all my trades in real time in Discord. So this isn't hindsight stuff. This is all called out real time in Discord for VIP members, which if you opt into that free course, you will have a chance to join us in Discord as well. Okay. So right now, guys, what I'm looking at is you can see here that we have this BOS. Okay. So on the 4-hour time frame, this is our external structure. We have the BOS here. We have this low down here. This is our external low right now with this pullback occurring. And so then from here, what we can do is we know that this up here is our external high following this BOS. Okay. So from this high up here down here to this low, what I can do here, and this is part of the system I developed, which, members also get access to, is this high up here down here to the low, I have a modified fib that shows me discount, premium, and OTE. Okay. So this up here, or this down here, I should say first, is going to be discount. This red box is where I cannot short. I cannot short a market down here because I don't want to short low. I want to short high. Now this area up here, okay, this green area, this is going to be premium. This is where I can short. Now the dark green area, OTE, this is where I prefer to short a market. It doesn't have to be here, but this is where I prefer to short a market. And when I see this area align with an imbalance, I really start to pay attention because that is an area of interest that I want to be looking for shorts from. Okay, now let me show you too how this aligns with the DXY. So looking here at the 4-hour time frame on the DXY, this is the channel that we've talked about, guys. And this is why I do use channels because, if you have this on your chart, it makes trading a lot easier because you have a lot more structure to your trading. Now here on the DXY, you can see where if we go to a 15-minute time frame, you can see where this one as well, we had this internal shift. Okay, so we had this IBOS up here, I change of character, internal change of character right now happening. And so this is a bit of an internal shift that we're seeing here from the US dollar to where we could get a pullback early this week. Now, again, this is very counter trend. This is not something I'm going to be trading. However, there is an area on the daily time frame that I'm certainly looking at, because just like with the euro, we have from this low down here, okay, up here to this high, you can see where OTE comes in right here at this candle. Now, this daily candle had no retrace last week. Okay, so this is the March 11th candle. Now, if we go over here to the euro, okay, let's see how this lines up with this market. So again, same high up here, down here to the low. These are essentially inversely correlated charts. If we go to a daily time frame, right, you can see how this candle right here, once again from March 11th, okay, this right here is the pocket that I'm watching. Now, what do I need to see to get short, right? Every single time, what I look for is something on the 5-minute or 15-minute time frame. So you can see that back here, this drop right here is what I'm watching. This is a daily imbalance, okay, up here in this area, right around 115.80, 116, this region up here. So if we get the euro coming up here this week, then what I'm looking for is just like we had this little internal shift here that you see, okay, just like we saw this, I'm looking for something very similar. So if we get this here from the euro, come down here, fill in this imbalance, if we can hold that, then possibly we get the market making higher highs and higher lows on those lower time frames. So what I'm looking for here is a mitigation of this imbalance back here, okay, and then possibly a shift, okay, where we get the internal BOS occurring up here, and then we get the internal change of character on that close below, and then I'm looking for shorts. Okay, so I've detailed all of this in other videos I've made, but that's exactly what I'm watching here on the euro. Now, there's no guarantee that we come up here. Again, I am not longing this market because it is severely against the trend. Now, furthermore, too, if you are trading this, okay, again, I am not going to be long in this market, but if you do insist on looking for longs here, one thing that we could see is following this internal change of character right now, you can see where we do have this imbalance back here as well, okay, and also back here. So really, we could get the euro following this right here, this internal change of character, pulling back down here to fill in, or mitigate some of these imbalances before we possibly get a push higher, okay? But for me, I'm not going to be trading any of this stuff just because my rules dictate that I cannot short down here because, again, we are in discount, okay? I do not want to short in discount. I want to short up here in premium. So that is what I'm going to wait for, especially, like I said, after last week, after 3 trades, 3 winners, making a lot of money, I'm in no hurry to trade this. Okay, so bottom line, guys, this is where I'm looking to short. And I just told you exactly what I'll be looking for to short up here in this area if we get it. And then as far as targets, let's take a look at the daily, going back here to this market here and look at, what we could get from this market. Now, you can see that we have a low down here. So let's draw this out off of this low right here. So that could be a first target, right? Down here at this low, just below 114. Now, the thing that I'll be watching though, following this change of character, because if this is going to hold up from the euro, I mean, again, this is the first time we've seen this since 2024. So if this is going to hold up, I'm actually looking for lower than this right here. Okay. So in this case, if I get my short entry up here, right? And you can also see where we do have an imbalance back here as well, guys. Like I said over the weekend, we could get this up here. Okay. But I'm not as confident given the fact that we do have that BOS that I just showed you on the 1 hour time frame. So again, I don't want me to backtrack on this here, but looking at this BOS right here on the hourly, you can see this right here. This is our external high. If we came up here and took this out and came back here to fill in this imbalance, then things could start looking more bullish for the euro. So I think with that daily change of character, for me, guys, this is where I'm watching. But again, that low time frame shift is what's going to be key. Okay, so let's get back to talking about targets. Now, on the daily, if this right here is going to hold up, if this change of character is going to hold up, then I'm looking at areas like this right back here, okay? And the reason for that is if you go in here to a daily time frame and we move in here, what you'll notice is that this candle, okay, right here. So if I take, let's say, a rectangle off of this low right here, down here to this low and drag this over. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in here to bar replay and come back here toward this area. So if we then drop to, let's say, an hourly time frame, okay, so come in here and just see how this looks when the euro was bottoming out down here in this region. So what you'll notice here is that we did get this displacement back here, okay? Now, if I go to, let's say, a 4 hour time frame as well, what you'll notice is that this candle right here, even though we did retrace into part of this, we still have this back here as an imbalance, even this off of here, okay? This is all still an imbalance back here for the euro. And this really stands out to me. So right around like 112.60, 112.80 down there in that region, that is what I will be watching for if we get the setup. Okay, so if we head back here toward the current price action, right, what this looks like is this. If I drag this over, this is going to be my potential target. And I'm actually going to move this down a little bit because really the mitigation of the imbalance I'm looking for is actually a bit lower. So down here, like off of this high, right around like 112.80. So if, again, we get the short setup from up here, okay, then this is my potential target. So it looks like this. Right? Very simple. We have an internal bullish shift happening here so far early this week. This is very counter trend. I will not be long in this, but given this BOS right here, also that daily change of character that we saw last week, then this is the pocket where I'm looking to short right around 116. Get that short set up, then I'm looking for this as my target. Now, I will most likely have multiple targets if we get this. You could target this region down here as your first target, you know, this one down here, second target down here in this region, okay? That's also one way to kind of split this up. But as you can see, I mean, the reason that I'm waiting for this, guys, is like I said, first of all, I want to trade with the trend. Secondly, if you look from this area up here, if I'm able to get short from up here, if we get that low time frame shift, then from here down here toward this area, you're talking really 350 pips. Okay, it's a big area to trade that we could get this setup. Now it could take days, it could even take a week or two for this to actually materialize, but that's perfectly fine, guys. For a 350 pip setup, you know, my stop loss is typically on the low time frames. When I get that shift, I can typically get in with a 25, maybe 30 pip stop. So you're talking about a 10-to-1 reward to risk. Okay. And that's exactly why I am going to wait for this to set up. It doesn't mean that it will. Okay. But I know that if I wait for this, even if it takes a week for this to set up, that it's going to be worth the wait. Okay. Now, alternatively, let's talk about that here before we wrap up. Alternatively, like I said, if we get the market taking out this high back here, okay, following this BOS, so following this BOS right here, if we were to get the euro taking out this high, then that would kind of muddy things up a little bit in terms of a short setup, because now you have a change of character here on the hourly time frame. Okay, so really, like I said, I think that, you know, this is where I'm looking for shorts as of right now. Obviously, that could change. If we don't get this and the market takes out this high, it could start to look a little bit more bullish, even though we have this imbalance back here. Okay, but I would kind of hold off a little bit there if we were to get a close above this high. It doesn't mean that shorts would be completely off the table, but in terms of this setup I'm showing you, again, it would kind of muddy things a little bit and make it a little bit more difficult. Now, let's say too that we come up here, okay, toward, let's say, this region here, and we just reverse. Okay, if that's the case, then we may not get this up here. We may not see this imbalance mitigated. Or alternatively to, on the 15-minute time frame, if this internal shift that we've seen so far this week, this bullish shift right here, if the euro were to come back here and start taking out these lows, then in my opinion, we probably aren't going to see this. And this trend is just going to continue. Okay. But again, my rules are here for a reason. And right now I know that this up here is the area I need to see. And even if we don't get that exact area, again, on the hourly time frame, my rules tell me that I cannot short down here in discount. So from this high up here down here to this low, the bottom line is this line right through here, this 50%, okay, I cannot short anything below here. So anything below here, I cannot short. I have to wait for this up here, okay? Just my rules. Again, that's a system that I've developed over the course of the better part of a year, and it is available for VIP members. So I hope this video helped. Keep it locked in here. Subscribe to the channel. Also check out that free SMC course right here on the screen. I promise that is going to help you immensely with your SMC trading. So until next time, trade well. I will talk to you again tomorrow.